John Steinbeck was a famous American writer. His most known novels were The Grapes of Wrath, Sea of Cortez, and Of Mice and Men. In total, he wrote 27 books. He was awarded the Nobel Prize of Literature in 1962. John Ernest Steinbeck Jr. was born on February 27, 1902, in Salinas, California. Steinbeck had two parents that loved him very much. He was the son of John Ernest Steinbeck, who worked as a businessman, accountant, and a manager to keep his family happy and healthy. John was also the son of Olive Hamilton, who retired as a teacher. He grew up as the second child of four, also being the only boy. He had a very happy childhood. He was shy, but a very intelligent boy. John showed great appreciation for his hometown by the great form of writing. At the age of 14, Steinbeck already showed greater interest in becoming a writer. He would often lock himself in his room and write poems. In 1919, Steinbeck enrolled in Stanford University, but he did it more for his parents' pleasure. To please himself, he signed up for classes that interested him, like classical and British literature, creative writing, and a class for science. The struggling author was in and out of college, but eventually dropped out. John briefly moved to New York, where he found work as a news reporter and a construction worker, but later on he moved back to California. Soon after moving back, he took a job as a caretaker and a tour guide. While taking both of those jobs, John met his wife Carol Henning in Lake Tahoe in the year 1928. John and Carol got married in January 1930 in Los Angeles, California. 5 years later, John released his first novel, Cup of Gold. He wrote several other books, but didn't become successful until Tortilla Flat. In 1937, John wrote Of Mice and Men. Steinbeck wrote Of Mice and Men to show what it means to be human. It shows a person's personal goal and the obstacles they must encounter to reveal their ambition, dream, and dignity. It can show a human's real sacrifice. John Steinbeck wrote this during the Great Depression, the era of when Americans lost their job. It was a dark tale of men journeying through a brutal world, and it shows that not everyone's journey will be easy. Steinbeck wrote the greatest and most ambitious novel, The Grapes of Wrath. His novel was published 2 years after he published Of Mice and Men. John was telling the story of a disappointed Oklahoma family that struggled to carry on a new life in California during the time of the Great Depression. His book captured how our world felt during this time period. The Grapes of Wrath was so popular that it sold over 10,000 copies every week. After John Steinbeck's great success, he served as a war correspondent for the New York Herald Tribune during World War II. Around this time period, he made his way to Mexico to collect marine life with his friend. Edward F. Ricketts was not only John's friend, but he was a marine biologist. Their adventures together resulted into the book Sea of Cortez, that was also published in 1941. This book describes marine life in the Gulf of California. In the year 1962, Steinbeck was awarded the Nobel Prize of Literature for his realistic and imaginative writing, combining as it does sympathetic humor and keen social perception. In 1967, as a behest of Newsday magazine, Steinbeck went to Vietnam to report on war there. John Steinbeck was considered a hawk for his position on that war. His sons both served in Vietnam prior to his death. Steinbeck visited one of his sons in battlefield. After 66 years of a long-filled life, Steinbeck passed away in New York City on December 20, 1968 due to heart failure and heart disease. John Steinbeck made an impact on American literature during the 1930s. He provided a clear picture of the horrid truth that the Great Depression was.